Hello, Carolyn. Thank you for joining me for some bonus content here for YouTube in support of episode 4 of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley. First of all, I want to thank everybody for listening, for subscribing here on YouTube, and for really the robust response to the podcast. It's a testament entirely to the work of the woman that's joining me here, Carolyn Ossorio. Carolyn,
No,
thank
no,
you
no,
for
no.
making the time. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, Brandon. But please, Brandon is an amazing producer of the show. We are longtime collaborators, and it is absolutely amazing to be talking with you about episode 4, which is quite different from episode 3
Hmm.
for many reasons.
Hmm.
Um,
It is. Well,
episode
first of all,
4,
let me start with
yeah,
the title. This is
okay,
my favorite title of any of the episodes. And
okay,
it's in quotes because it's an actual quote from a police detective assigned to the case. And the title of the episode, words right out of his mouth when you interviewed him. She literally crawled out of her grave. So
yeah,
very powerful. It is
yeah, and
right. It hits the nail on the head. It's on the nose, it's really powerful for a reason. So I want to talk about the difference here between and it's very different from episode 3, okay, where we have Norma Jean Countryman who kind of picked up the torch or is carrying the mantle of an advocate, okay, where she wants her story out there and she's very vocal about it and helping people and then we get to this episode with the woman we can't even say her name. We made up a name for her,
yep.
Susan, right? She's a Jane Doe
Hmm.
or the Lacamas
Hmm.
Lake victim who wanted to
Hmm.
stay completely anonymous through the investigation, through the trial. She testified, everything, but doesn't want anyone to know who she is. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, she's not a Jane Doe. She is someone that we called, gave her the pseudonym of Susan. And then the Lacamas Lake victim added that on so that because we wanted the victims to and survivors to, there's so many of them that we didn't want them to get lost. And what we knew about Susan the very beginning was that she does not want her story out there in the sense of like this is not she is not like Norma in that way. And of course we wanted to respect that, but part of telling the story is saying what happened, and what happened to her was horrific, and what she survived and crawled out of her grave. And the big thing too is that she was believed, whereas Norma wasn't. They both described their abductor and Warren Forrest, um, but Susan was believed, Norma was not. So, and they both gave amazing descriptions of what had happened to them. And, fortunately for Norma, she was able to escape before he came back and was probably was planning to do what he did to Susan to Norma. And so it's just it's a very important episode and for different reasons.
So let me ask you a little bit of
Hmm.
a weird question here. Like, how do you feel about Susan's decision to effectively stay quiet? Whereas Norma is using her experience for good to help other victims, to help get more charges brought, to help, other families deal with stuff. Are you little, do you think Susan should be doing more? Do you think she's being selfish? Do you think
No,
her
not at
experience
all.
is her own and it's not for us to judge? Like, how do you feel about that?
No, I mean, I feel like, in my work in true crime, and victims and survivors, they're very different, and you really need to respect where they're at, in on their journey. And, with Susan, I don't want to give away, you know, too much about future episodes, but like she has done her part and will do her part. And she's a very private person and does not want to be, she did not want to be interviewed for the podcast. It was made clear to me from the very beginning, from investigators, Denny Hunter, the prosecutor who I interviewed, extensively, that she does not want to, she does not want to be talked to. She does not want to be interviewed.
Yeah.
And that was so clear to me that I never reached out to her. I asked people that she trusted, like Denny Hunter, I said, hey, that this is retired, was a prosecutor at the time, in the 70s. Hey, will you please, let her know that I would love to talk to her if she is willing. And, I never heard back. So I really wanted to protect her anonymity. And we were fortunate to have her a taped interview, um, which is, it's still important to tell the story. So I was able to get to it that way so I could but no, I totally respect where she's at, and people, Norma feels really empowered to come forward and do this. And, that's Norma. The Lacamas Lake victim is a different person.
Yeah. Why do you think that Susan was believed by law enforcement and Norma wasn't? Do you think it's because they knew they knew that they'd messed up with Norma and that the circumstances were very similar and like, all right, let's not mess this one up too. Let's give this a little bit more credence? Or do you think
I thought
it was the veracity of her tone, or she didn't have the teenage kind of delinquent, label placed on her right away like Norma did? Like what do you think there?
I've thought a lot about it, and I think that I think one, like I feel like based on the photos that I've seen with Norma, like based on what she was saying, the witnesses that came forward, like I don't understand. I still don't understand why she was not believed. And that was really, I've said this many times, and it's like that's what made me want to understand more about this case, was like why was she not believed? Now with Susan, um, a different officer arrived at the scene and saw the specialty gate and clicked right away. And a witness who had stayed behind at the park at Lacamas Lake Park had said, a woman was raped, she was taken to the hospital, and there was a van that was inside the gate. And so the officer immediately made that connection of like, okay, he must have had a key, because how would this blue van get through the
Mhm.
gate without that, so that raised a red flag right away. So he told that to the detectives who went to speak with Norma. I'm sorry, with Susan. And so when they went there, she explained everything, talked about the gate, that never happened with Norma. Instantaneously Norma was like, you know, she was interrogated, in her, when Pillsbury was interviewing her, he referred to it as an interrogation.
Mhm.
So I just feel like, the people that were involved were different investigators. It just went differently from the very beginning. And they would arrest him the very next morning, early the next morning. So like they were putting it together. They immediately went to the parks department and said, "Hey, do you know of anybody who would have a key to this, who drives a blue van, who has this description?" And they immediately were like, "Yeah, we do. That's Warren Forrest."
So speaking of Warren Forrest now, these were
Hmm.
two victims that he left
Yeah.
alive, and they both got away and
Hmm.
led to his
Well, he
capture.
didn't he didn't leave them alive. He
He left
was
Norma
totally
alive. He
planning.
he probably thought Susan was dead, but Norma, he said, "You'll get more of that if you try it again. I'll be back soon." Kind of, right?
Yeah,
Like
he was planning on coming back, and he did go back. He did go back to Norma, and thank
and
God she
and
had
she was
chewed through
gone.
her
But so
binding and was
Susan, he
gone.
thought he thought that he had already finished the job. He thought that she was dead.
He
Yes.
yes, he stabbed her multiple times and cut her throat and left her in, piled debris on top of her. He thought that she was dead.
But do you think that he thought that he never had to go back? He wasn't going to go back and bury her properly or hide her body more. He thought that I'm done with that. I can get out of here.
I think so. He piled debris on top of her.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to like talk about the other cases, but that's right, fits his MO of
Yeah.
what he was doing, you know?
Okay. So, any other thoughts on Susan and her post-attack kind of life? You said that she did her part. She testified against him, and then, well, I don't want to give away more stuff in future episodes, but I like hearing you say she did her part and she continues to. So
Well,
that's
first of
encouraging.
all, like the fact that she even survived and how she literally
Full
crawled out
stop.
of her
Yes.
grave.
Yes.
Okay. The fact that she then was able to get to the street, had staunched her wounds with leaves and had the wherewithal to 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 make it there and the spirit to like continue. I mean, she almost didn't make it.
Yeah.
And so I just think that it became something that was an interesting part of the investigation in the sense that I could always tell, and people could tell with me, how much you knew about the investigation because no people who really know about the investigation will not say her name. They
Hmm.
refer to her as the Lacamas Lake victim. The detectives, you know, Norma, Starr, you know, so many people that are really that know about this case, they do not say her name. And it is such a, you know, respectful thing that I absolutely, I really wanted to protect her identity, but I still wanted her story to be told because it's such a huge part of this series. And the she handled herself when those detectives came to speak with her and was so clear, like Norma, she just wanted to describe. I mean, I haven't talked to her, as I said, but just based on what the detectives told me, who went to speak with her that night, and then the tape that I listened to, it's like, you know, she's a hero like Norma, just in a completely different way.
Yep. Agreed. 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 All right. Well, we need to cut this short, but this was great. Thank you for taking a little extra time for this episode for our YouTube fans. If you're out there watching this, please make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get them. Drop a like on this video, comment, ring the bell so you don't miss any of the content because we're going to be doing a couple more of these for future episodes. Just give us the Uber follow. That's make it real simple. Podcast, YouTube. Go over to the website, stolenvoicespod.com, for more content and pictures, crime scene photos that you won't see anywhere else. And again, we can't thank you all enough for your support. The show it's been a very successful launch, and we're really grateful, and at the same time, really proud of the show, and we're happy that it's finding an audience. So, Carolyn, again, congratulations, and we will see you for episode 5.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, everybody.